Hello and hello everyone. Welcome to Vida Edtech, your home for so much in education, educational technology, culture, fun, just a good space and a place to be together. Welcome. My name is Dr. Latasha Castro-Lala, and we are so excited to welcome you back for another episode. How's it going, Mr. Navas?
Hello. Super excited for today's episode. We have an amazing guest who is also a friend and also part of the show as well. So I'm super excited to not only highlight this guy, but talk about his interests, talk about what he's doing, and this is going to be a great episode.
Listen, we are really privileged. When you come up with a concept and an idea and it just starts to formulate, you have the basis, you have that foundation. And then along the way, there's that secret sauce. And when you add that secret spice, that sauce, that flavor, that sabor, you know what happens? It goes to another level. And we would be remiss with making this podcast possible and as fire as it is without the one, the only, our special guest today, Chris Brignolle. I ain't gonna say no more because he already gave you away to say about today. So, welcome.
What's going on, y'all? I appreciate you guys having me on the show today. I love what you guys are doing, and I'm really excited about you guys allowing me to be a part of this whole series and behind the scenes and really help building this along with you guys on Vida Edtech. So I really appreciate everything you guys do.
Well, I think Lala hit it on the head. I mean, we are privileged, literally privileged to have you on our show, having you helping us and blessing us with your God-given skill of tech and this world of streaming. Because I'll be quite honest with you, this would not be happening without Chris on the show. So I definitely, personally want to give him a big shout out, a big thank you. And an absolute, dude, I mean, at the end of the day, we've been working for some time and I've grown to admire you and love you almost like family, brother, because what we're doing is something magical. So I can't wait to tell the world.
Same to you, brother. Same to you. You guys rock and roll. I mean, it's going on a full year now. I mean, I met you for the first time at the Nifty Gala last year. You guys were my guest. You guys came through. We had a blast. The whole team Urbanda. You guys introduced the metaverse to me. And as you know, I love technology. So as soon as you introed it to me, like it was Team No Sleep for me, I was literally just running, making sure that I figured this out, right? Because one of the things, everything that I do at life, I don't like to be dependent on anyone. I like to be able to understand, and it goes in business, right? As an entrepreneur, even if you're soliciting and getting services outward, right, and you're not doing it yourself, I like to know what I'm paying for. Does it translate into that dollar? So when we joined forces with Urbanda, I was like, I know we're paying you guys as a company, but I also want to learn. I want to have hands-on with you. Let's go. So I appreciate everything you guys been doing.
Absolutely. And literally since the minute we met on that call with Sammy and the team, and, you were asking certain questions and, already maneuvering, changing avatars, all on the fly while we were literally there just 5 minutes. I said, oh, this is not my average client. This guy knows what he's doing in the background. So, absolute pleasure to not only meet you, work with you, learn all about Nifty, meet the Nifty team, meet JD and everyone over there. Amazing. And more importantly, that gala was, inspiring. The idea of what Nifty was doing with young entrepreneurs and seeing kids, invest in themselves really, and put themselves out there as entrepreneurs, and all the work you're doing and the resources and tools you're providing students and teachers at Nifty is amazing. So I'm definitely happy to have you here and dig a little deeper of your interests, what you're doing, what you're into. And let's talk a little bit about Nifty as well. So why don't we start with you, though, Chris? Give us a little background of you, where you grew up, what you're into, what you're loving nowadays.
Absolutely. But before we even do that, we got to have that official Nifty drop.
And that's why I'm nifty.
Absolutely. So
Love it.
with that said and done, what you see is what you get. I tell everybody all the time, right? I am Chris. At the end of the day, I'm the executive director for the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship SouthEast Region. And one of the things about Nifty is, that's near and dear to my heart is I wish I took the course as a child growing up, right? This resource was not a thing for me at all. And now I'm actually living through the students. I'm growing with the students. And I think that's key in the line of work that I do, is to grow with the students. So being at Nifty over the past 18 years, I was able to become an entrepreneur at the end of the day. And I learned so much along the way that I've been able to translate that and transfer it over to the students that I'm working with and the teachers and the educators throughout the Southeast region. And for those of you that don't know, the Southeast region is literally from Homestead, Florida, all the way to the Carolinas and outward to Alabama. And shout out to Urban Impact, new program we got. And one of the things that we're doing with Urban Impact, we're going to be bringing after school programming into the Birmingham, Alabama locations. And that's the Nifty side of my life. I've been doing this now 18 years. Besides that, I'm also an entrepreneur, and my wife and I are both entrepreneurs, and we learned along the way through trials and tribulations. We have a few different types of businesses that we operate. One of this being, the main one is import exports from Miami to Nicaragua. And we do door-to-door service. We do customs, and we do air shipments. And then, I also help my kids out with their individual businesses. I have 4 kids. My daughter's 16, and she's a serial entrepreneur. She got a bunch of little side hustles. And then my son is 19, and he has DNA Shoes, which is a sneaker reselling company. As you see in my background is literally his probably biggest client. So I buy sneakers. I love sneakers, and I invest into a lot of kicks and stuff like that.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I started following your son and seeing what he's doing as far as selling kicks on the internet. And I told my wife I got to buy some off him because who wants to go to the store? I can get them right off IG off your son.
Absolutely.
That's the best part of this whole thing.
I mean, I have to tell you, Chris, so so I have not known you as long as Navas, but I have to tell you, there's a presence about your spirit, and an energy that you bring into the space. And so for me, it's been a pleasure just watching you work, watching your process, and understanding how, in some respects, you're a perfectionist, but yet with love and care, designed and focused on growth. And so I'm looking at Nifty's vision, which talks about every person owns their future, and the purpose being that it leads the global movement for equitable access to entrepreneurship education. And it just seems, just from what you've just shared so far, but I've gotten to know of you, and again, started following all the things, right? I want you to tell us a little bit about where this came from. You shared a little bit about, where you came from, your heritage. And that's a big part of what we're trying to do here, is uplift and create space. Tell us about how your upbringing, your culture kind of led you into this space, and continues to drive you in what you do.
Well, I'm little old Chris from Brooklyn, New York, first and foremost. So shout out to New York. All my New Yorkers, shout out, and all my East Coast folks. Because one of the things is, growing up in Brooklyn, I always say the block raised me. So by the block, what I mean by the block raised me, and shout out to Block Life. Block stands for acronym, and stay tuned. You hear more about that in probably future episodes coming soon. But when I say the block raised me, I remember as a kid being outside and my next door neighbors kneeling down at their window, looking out the window, watching us play, and say, Chris, don't pass that green pole. I'm gonna tell your mom if you pass the green pole, you know you're not supposed to pass the green pole, right? And with that said and done, I'm grateful for having people look over me and understanding what it is that, you know, it is to protect the block. And if it wasn't for the block, I'm not sure where I'd be right now. I'm 45 years old, and I grew up with my best friend, Federico Navarro. We called him Tuto. And with that said and done, at the age of 19, you know, his life was taken away from me in front of my eyes. And I remember leaving New York and going straight to Florida and never went back home. And everybody was like, where are you? I'm like, I'm in Miami. I don't know what's gonna happen, where I'm going, but I'm gonna figure it out. And never return home. And with that said and done, I was able to, you know, build a family. And the family that I have, I'm a firm believer things happen for certain reasons, right? Not saying my friend needed to lose his life for this to happen, but the realization is, if that component didn't happen in my life, the family that I'm living with right now I probably wouldn't be sitting in this seat talking to you guys. My whole life would have been probably totally different, because I would have stood in New York with him side by side till today. And we would have probably been doing this probably in New York, but I wouldn't have happened to have my amazing wife, kids, and things to that nature. So, you know, I miss him dearly, but that's what happened in order to this to happen today. To go back to your original question about the culture and the upbringing, single mom, took care of 8 of us, and she only had what she had. And I knew in order to get those new pair of sneakers, I had to go pick up that shovel, go shovel some snow. I had to go figure it out. Yeah. If I had some old comic books, I know if I bought it for $1, I was gonna sell it for $2. And it was a bunch of entrepreneurial things that I learned, but just for survival mode, I didn't know I was an entrepreneur. And then from there, it translated later on, and it all made sense. You know, I was working at Intel Computer Clubhouse Network, and we was breaking the digital divide back then for seniors and kids. And organically, we was taking the kids' work and turning it into a business. And a former executive director for the NFTE SouthEast Region, Alice Horn, my mentor, like a second mom to me, she took me under the wing and said, you got this, and taught me the ropes and said, I need you to come work with me, because whatever it is that you're doing, you teach an entrepreneurship, but I don't think you know what it is yet. And I said, I don't. And she, you know, raised me to where I'm at now, along with other mentors that I had in my life as well.
I mean, that's just, first off, thank you for sharing that part of your story and that legacy of your best friend that continues to live on through you, through the work that you're doing every day. And I just love how you acknowledge the block and talking about that, because there's so many of us, people sometimes misinterpret coming from an urban background that there's only negatives, and there's a part of community and love. And I find like sometimes it doesn't matter where you are. If folks are from that certain space, no matter where you see them in the world, you're a family, and there's a caring, and there is we have each other. Sometimes that's all we have, but in having each other, we have everything. Maybe not the monetary things that we think of, but the heart, the soul, the passion, and really the drive that fuels us to keep going, to move forward, and to achieve. And boy, have you done that. So the block must be so proud of you.
Absolutely. And you know what? I mean, almost like that poster child, because I always go around when we talk about urban kids or urban students per se, and I always keep my eye on them, because listen, you can have we almost get 2 educations when you're growing up in these type of environments. You get that street education, which is just straight common sense to another degree. You move a little differently. Your third eye's open a little earlier, so you're looking around and taking in the environment right off the bat. So you move very differently. And then again, you have the option of getting that academic education as well. So, you know, the world needs to be careful with urban kids, man, because they you know, as much as they get pushed down, they are a step ahead in the sense of, you know, they have two educations, and we're not just talking book smart. They have an extra swag about them and an extra way of carrying themselves, which is very special.
Absolutely. And I mean, the thing about it is like, for a while, you know, I was always, I don't want to say I was shameful of my upbringing, but I didn't know any better. I didn't know what the rich look like. The rich that, and you know what? I know what it looks like now. It looks like us. It looks, you don't have to have physical dollars to be rich. I'm rich at heart, right? I strive for greatness, and even accepting the executive director role for NFTE Southeast, it was a challenge for me as an adult, a 45-year-old man, to accept this position, because I felt like I wasn't, you know, the one with the doctorate degree or the master's degree. People, you know, I learned from others. I'm blessed to be in front of you guys. I'm in front of Dr. Castellala. Doctor. You know what? I really praise the individuals that went through those trials and tribulations to get their doctorate degree. That's huge, right?
Yeah.
But I also tell people, don't get it twisted that because I'm not a doctor or have a master's degree, that I'm not as bright as and smart as you are, right? Because I learned from everyone, from the doctors, the masters, the bachelors, the associates folks, you know, from the kids, from the homeless guy sitting on the corner. I learn every day, and I make it a point to learn one new thing each and every day. So I think one of the messages that this specific show that I'm able to be a guest on, and I'm all about sending messages outward and resources, that this show right here is going to reflect not only the digital tools that we utilize to get across to others, but it's going to reflect you can do whatever it is that you want to do. I don't care what it is that you want to do. You can be that. So educators listening, make sure, and you educators out there, bless you guys. Why? Because it's not a 9-to-5 job. It's a 24 hours a day job. You got to talk to your students coming in, because you don't know what they went through the night before. So with that said and done, I'm learning each and every day from the educators, the students, everybody in my surroundings. And when I accepted the ED role, I didn't know that at the time, and I felt like everybody's gonna judge me because this is Chris with the tattoos on his arms. This is Chris that doesn't have the major degree, but this is what you get, and I'm a deliverer, and I'm gonna strive for greatness, and I'm gonna make sure I make it happen at the end of the day.
I mean, that's amazing. And I think that you leave those crumbs everywhere you go when you're interacting with people, whether you're speaking or not, whether you're doing this back end work or not, whether you're laying foundation, creating programmatic innovation, you're talking with kids, you're working with administrators and teachers, you're creating space for the next generation to connect to their passion and be as innovative as possible. Tell me what's next on the horizons for you. You've done so much, and this platform alone, and the work that you do in your role as ED really opens up an opportunity for kids to just dream and imagine. What are you looking forward to doing?
So with that said and done, before I even mention that, I gotta drop one again.
And that's why I'm
So yeah. I love that drop because one of my former students, Vinay Brown, but also now NFTE colleague, she's come a long way from student to intern to official employee that runs the volunteer department of NFTE. She made me that drop. we created something called I Am Nifty. And even though I didn't go through the Nifty program, I am Nifty, right? Meaning not that I am Nifty, but I am Nifty at heart. I'm a Nifty student. I lived through the time frame of the past 18 years of learning with the students. And now, to your question about what's next, right? This metaverse is what's next. I'm gonna be honest with you, right? So like we taking this to a whole nother level. When I say a whole nother level, like we got a podcast we doing a podcast in the metaverse.
Yep.
I don't think anyone has done that before, to be honest with you, right? This is the first of its kind to my knowledge.
Yep.
And it's only gonna get better.
Yep. And let's not keep it a secret and let our audience know that when every time you tune into an episode, the cameraman behind this metaverse podcast is Chris, and his love for tech and these worlds is amazing. So Chris, that being said, why don't we talk a little bit about what we are doing with as far as the metaverse as a tool? What are we doing at Nifty with that tool nowadays?
So with the metaverse, right, you know, working for a nonprofit, you got to think like an entrepreneur, right? And it's crazy, but you know, the nonprofit that I work for is about entrepreneurship. So why not think like an entrepreneur? You got to think with your budget. You got to think what your next move is going to be, and you got to be sometime unconventional on what you do that still aligns with the mission and vision of the organization. So one of the things that we do in Nifty is we have a whole volunteer component of the organization where we bring in business owners, business professionals to come work with our students. And let's be real about this. It's hard for somebody that's really busy during the day to take time out and run over to a school and jump into the classroom. So guess what? If we can't get you out of your office, we're going to bring the students to you in your office, right? So now we created, in with the help of Urban, the Nifty metaverse space. We have 4 different platforms. We have an expo center, we had an innovation center, we have a Nifty campus with classrooms. Actually, we had coaching this morning with someone from, I think, California, working with one of our students in Miami. Come on. And it was at 8 o'clock in the morning. So do the math on that, what time that person woke up, right?
Wow.
I was a dedicated volunteer to be able to pop on their computer, jump into their avatar, put their webcam on, and smile and talk to a student and make the day that much brighter. So I encourage everyone to take advantage of accessing our volunteer initiatives that we have on the horizon for the remaining of March and April. You just got to go to nifty.com, NFTE.com, and click that volunteer engagement button. You can see it right here on the screen. I'm going to pop it up on the screen now, so you should see it here. And you can click that link, and you can, anywhere you at in the States, or even at a global level, you can look for an initiative and engagement opportunity near you, whether it's virtual or physical. I challenge everyone out there that's listening, go spend some time with some students and help them understand something that they didn't know. Because I'm all about, sometimes we only know what we know. And if we don't get a chance to learn, we can't grow.
I mean,
I had a privilege to be a volunteer with Nifty. I believe it was in December.
Nice.
To see some amazing students. And again, you know, I went to the where we met at the gala, and I was blown away there. Just seeing how they articulate themselves, how far advanced they are as far as getting their idea of a business out there. But when I volunteered and really got to see them pitch and do a lot of other things, wow. I mean, honestly, not only is this the future platform that we're going to be using in this digital age, but honestly, I think when it comes to teaching and learning, that entrepreneur piece is something that's going to be huge in the next few years as well, because it's really about, you know, being an entrepreneur and popping out your own ideas and your own businesses. So I got to tell you, I got to echo what Chris just said. If you have an opportunity, go to the Nifty site. They're always looking for volunteers, but it is a rewarding it's a rewarding piece of your time because you're going to see kids doing some amazing things, and it's going to get your wheels turning as well. So I have to tell you, man, that volunteer thing was one of the best things I've done.
This is great. I got to tell you that in our time and talking about doing this and talking with Chris, I was doing some background research and found that NFTE honored a friend of mine that I'm like, what?
Hold on, his name's not Raphael Gordon, is it? That is my dude right there. Hold on.
And that's
Yeah, we went to college together, and when I tell you, he is the epitome of heart, hustle, and drive. Like, I remember this cat back in the day.
I got goosebumps because, oh my God, like, where's his book at? Hold on, I have his book.
Do we have opulence? Do you have candy pin? What is it? Is it candy pin?
Come on! Oh my God!
Listen.
That's the craziest thing that
I can't believe it. Like, I'm looking and I'm like, look at that. Look at Raphael.
I'm taking a photo of you right now and sending it to him.
I love him. He was like a little brother. I gotta tell you, he I'm like, wow. I was listening to this and talking and researching about NFTE, and was like, man, I can imagine those folks that I remember doing this. He used to sell candy. Like, everything he writes about is true. He used to promote parties. He used to do all the things, and I'm like, wow, he was the essence and heart of the work that you're talking about. And to see that you are recognizing him, and we didn't even know this, we didn't discuss this, like, we had no idea. It's just, it just speaks volumes to seeing that y'all are over there doing big things, connecting people with those who have come from humble beginnings, who are focused and committed about giving back and also achieving. So this has just been a joy talking to you. I get excited talking about this organization, talking with you, because you're right. It really gets you thinking, what should I be out there doing? And then how can I help while I'm out here achieving, leaving a path for others to follow me in? And I feel like that's the legacy that you actually have started creating with your work.
Absolutely. I'm like, Chris, real quick, with all the teachers and students we have out there viewing our show, how can they get involved with NFTE? How can they, aside from volunteering, how can they bring NFTE to their school district if they wanted to? So just some background on how they can get involved with NFTE.
So one of the things, just to walk you through, we have about 2 minutes left, right? So with NFTE, the idea is bringing entrepreneurship to your classroom, right? So we bring entrepreneurship to your classroom, and by bringing entrepreneurship to your classroom, you can either infuse it, teach it standalone. We work directly majority of the time with the CTE departments, right? Shout out to the CTE departments, FBLA teachers, DECA teachers, the list continues. But they bring back our curriculum. It's plug and play. All of our curriculum is on Canvas. We have a full pathway model, right? From 5th grade to 12th grade, and we have for post-secondary education, which started up. We have tons of curriculum and options to be able to adapt it to your schedule in your classrooms. With that said and done, the students create a business plan. They then present it at the end of the school year for a chance to win seed capital. And I've seen students right now that are making millions in their business. Shout out to Jonathan Avadia with Axe Gaming Lab and a bunch of other students that we had that are really successful because of the mentorships and a bunch of other things. And besides that, they were motivated. They were really motivated, and it made it happen. But I'm gonna be honest with you, teachers, educators, don't forget the kid on the back of the classroom with the head down on the desk that doesn't want to be bothered. That's who we target. That's who we want, and that's who we want to achieve and make it to the next round. We have students that are self-driven. I love them to death. They're the ones that's we're gonna use them as junior mentors in the classroom, right? But back to what Marco said, how to get involved with NFTE, go to www.nifte.com, and NFTE spelled NFTE.com. Once again, www.nfte.com, and you can look up and you can do a program inquiry and request programming for your school. and we'll have a representative reach out to you and communicate and connect.
That's awesome. And I think you're right. For those who don't know, CTE stands for Career Technical Education. FBLA, this is Future Business Leaders of America. We're going to continue to open up opportunities for have guests here on this show, where we're going to start sharing and talking about how we can connect academic learning, the teaching and learning world with the world in which people are living, and how to have more opportunities to mesh those two and bring in your own spin. There are tons of opportunities out there, and they're waiting for our students, for our kids, and teachers waiting for you too, because you got some of the amazing things. It's just a matter of connecting it. Just when you think it's not something you can do, it is here and it's waiting and ready to receive you. So make sure you're going out there connecting. Look up Nifty, research it, find out what's going on. Chris, I couldn't say thank you enough. This has been great. I'm telling you, we're not done. Like, this is going to be part one. We're going to have to come back with a part two.
Coming back with
there's more I want to hear.
Raphael Gordon, you hear me? I already texted you. You responded. He said, "Small world, rocking and rolling." Ragor, you're coming on this podcast.
Yay! That would be such a good reunion. I've seen him in a couple of years.
He's equivalent to E.T. the hip hop preacher.
Yes.
Dr. Chris Emden, if you know who Dr. Chris Emden is.
I would love to have him on our show.
The Nifty Summit, we had E.T. and Dr. Chris Emden in the Nifty Summit. Imagine those two dudes. Crowd motivated. Great again. We coming.
He's awesome.
Just the beginning.
He's definitely coming. We're definitely gonna get him on. Definitely going to talk hip hop and education in future episodes. But either way, Chris, listen, it is an honor to be working alongside of you. It is amazing to share this vision with you, have you part of the show. Again, this podcast would not be happening without your help, without your genius. And we personally thank you for all that. And can't wait to continue this journey and see where this all goes and continue talking about this innovation, diversity, and ed tech in education.
And that's why I'm Nifty.
Listen. Thank you. The journey is just beginning. We are so happy that folks joined us. Listen, we're going to wrap up this episode. On to the next one. Please make sure that you continue to follow us. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on social media, IG, Vida Edtech, following myself, Marcos Navas, Chris. Listen. Thank you. We hope that this is just getting you started and getting that idea generation going. Make sure you check out nifty.com, learn a little bit more about that. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Marcos, any parting words, sir?
I am overjoyed by all this episode and what's to come. And Chris, again, I love having you on the team, and this is a complete privilege. So thank you, and can't wait for what else is coming.
That's why I'm Nifty.
I love the race. That's my next learning curve, y'all. Listen, thank you for joining us again here on Vida Edtech, your home for culture, ed tech, education, and so much more. I'm Dr. Lala. Pleasure to have you. We're looking forward to seeing you on the next episode.